Hi, it's Pam from Southern Oklahoma Library System here in Ardmore at Champion Library. I'm here demonstrating another health literacy, healthy food, and these are healthy snacks. I'm going to do everything but the kitchen sink nachos and frozen yogurt bites. The first thing I'm going to start is this everything. First of all, I need to tell you all that this is a health literacy program. It's brought to you from funding from the Oklahoma Department of Libraries and the Institute of Museums and Libraries. So that's where we get the money to do these things. The first thing we're going to do is everything but the kitchen sink nachos. And this is also a canned food or a pantry. It's a pantry recipe. Everything except for the cheese comes directly out of your pantry, and your refrigerator is considered part of your pantry too. So everything comes out of your pantry. So to make these nachos, you are going to, first of all, it says preheat your oven to 325. I'm not using the oven because it's summertime and we participate in peaks in my house, which means we try not to heat the house up with the washer and the dryer or the oven between 2 and 7. So, and 2 and 7 is prime snacking time and eating time, we all know. So I'm going to use the microwave. You could also use a toaster oven, but today I'm going to use the microwave. So in a medium bowl, you stir the chicken. This is just canned chicken. And kind of chop it up a little bit. And it's in pretty good sized chunks. And this is all white meat. I'm sure you don't have to have that. It's just having to be what I bought. And it says a can of diced tomatoes drained. Okay, so here's the can of diced tomatoes drained, and here's a clue. This is the second biggest mess I have made with food in my whole adult life. I tried to chop up these diced tomatoes because they weren't small enough for me, and I made a huge big mess. Thank goodness I did this yesterday instead of today, and we reevaluated and decided that we would cook today instead of yesterday. So that's a can of tomatoes. Diced green chilies here. I'm not going to use all of these. French style black beans. Again, I'm not going to use all these, and these I've drained too. That's why it's called everything but the kitchen sink. It's kind of like, what do you have in your pantry? So I'm stirring all of this up. And I'm going to add about 4 ounces of shredded cheese. Well, here's another thing I learned yesterday. You know, they always say you can freeze cheese, and you can, but when you go to grate it, it doesn't look very pretty. But it doesn't matter because this is all going to go into our nachos, and it's going to melt, so it doesn't matter. So that's about 4 ounces, and then it says let this sit for about 5 minutes. Stirring it up good, and I'm going to just let it sit for about 5 minutes. I'm going to show you my second thing I'm going to make. This is a big favorite here at Champion Library. They love when I make these. These are yogurt bites. Little bite-sized yogurt bites. They're cold and icy in the freezer. And the way you make these is you just take your little container of any kind of flavored yogurt, and we're going to put it in a Ziploc baggie to make our little bites, and cut off the end, and that's a huge, it's okay, it'll work. You can just drop these onto your, I put a piece of parchment on the bottom of a cookie sheet, and this is a cookie sheet for a toaster oven, maybe cute little. So that's what I'm going to use today. So you can just drop like spoonfuls onto the parchment paper or you can put it in your baggie and squirt it out and make little designs if you're so inclined to do. And we're going to see how this works because this is not my regular kind of baggie. So I'm just going to squeeze a little and see, it can make it kind of a little swirly. That's what I was afraid of. It comes out both ends there where this is one of those stand-up baggies. That's normally not what I use. They don't get any bigger, so you can put them pretty close together. You just squeeze them all out onto your parchment paper, and then you're going to put them in the freezer, not covered, just put them in the freezer for a couple of hours. And these key lime pie ones are the best. The ones I made yesterday are strawberry. They're maybe second or third best, but the key lime pie is the big favorite here. I'm going to use the rest of this drop in by teaspoonfuls. It doesn't matter. The kids don't care. You can put them in a glass or a metal bowl, so serve them on ice, and they'll keep a little while longer, but not a whole lot longer. They do melt, but they are really good. I love them. Okay, so it hasn't been quite 5 minutes, but almost. So it says to take our container and layer the tortilla chips on a large baking pan. But like I said, we're going to use the microwave, so we're just going to stick these on here. Just cover the plate good. We don't want to waste any of our goodies falling on the plate. I used to have a friend who would individually make nachos. She would put a nacho on the plate, and then she would put a little bit of cheese on it. She would put it up. I thought, it's just too much time. You got to slop it all together. Okay, so there are our tortilla chips spread all around. And it says to take a hearty layer of chicken mixture, covering as many as possible. So I still have some big chunks in here. And I'm just going to kind of dribble it around here. It made quite a bit of stuff. That was a pretty big can of chicken. 12 and a half ounces, so that's a pretty good size, pretty good chunk of chicken. So I do have cheese in here already, remember? Spreading it all around. At my house, it's kind of like we alternate Mexican food and Italian food and American food. My husband's not the chicken fan that I am, but he eats it when I fix it, so that's good enough. All right, so I've put this on there, and then you're supposed to add some corn. So sprinkle it around there too. I rinsed and drained and rinsed the corn and the beans. And I wasn't supposed to put the beans in there. I was supposed to sprinkle them like I did the corn, but hey, whatever works, right? And then olives. I chopped up these olives. So I'm just going to sprinkle them around a little bit. Olives are not my favorite, so. But that's the beauty of this recipe. It's one of those things that whatever you like, whatever you have, that's what you're gonna put. And then you're gonna top it off with more of this cheese. And we're gonna pop it into the microwave on high, and we're gonna do it in 30-second intervals. Okay, now another thing I would like to tell you about this yogurt. On the internet, there are hundreds of different things you can do with yogurt, and one of my favorite was patriotic yogurt bark. So what she did is she just took a cookie sheet and put the parchment paper on it, and then she put just a layer about a 1/4 inch thick of vanilla flavored Greek yogurt, and then she sprinkled on it strawberries, blueberries, and then she went back and sprinkled graham cracker crumbles, nuts. You could use peanuts or sunflower seeds or pecans, whatever you had. Then you put it in the freezer, let it freeze for a couple of hours, and you bring it out, and you break it up just like, you know, the bark that you make at Christmas time, peppermint bark or pretzel bark, where you just break it up. It's really good, and it's really pretty, festive for 4th of July, but it's something that does have to be eaten quick, so just know that. Okay, let me check on my nachos over here. And we will have some more. We have an adult cooking class the last 2 Thursdays in July at 1 o'clock on Thursdays. If you want to sign up, I think we just have a couple of slots taken. I have room for 10. We're going to talk about healthy, easy summer meals. And I'm all about easy. Not healthy all the time, but always easy. Here are our nachos. Don't they look yummy and pretty and festive? You can add salsa, sour cream, cilantro, onions, anything that you have. This is a clean out your pantry kind of meal. Snack. Thanks for joining us today. I'll see you next time.